Welcome to the Blanco Wellness Podcast. Thank you for being here. Take a breath, settle in, and let's close this part of the journey with something that has been quietly present underneath every episode we have shared together. There is a particular kind of lostness that does not look like lostness from the outside. The schedule is full, the responsibilities are being met, the life, by most visible measures, appears to be functioning. And yet underneath it, a quiet feeling persists, not dramatic, not an emergency, but persistent and real. The sense that something essential has been left behind somewhere along the way. That the version of yourself most visible to the world is not quite the same as the version that actually lives inside your own experience. That somewhere between all the becoming you have been doing, the person doing the becoming got slightly misplaced. Many people recognize this feeling without having words for it. They describe it as feeling disconnected or hollow, or as though they are watching their own life from a slight distance rather than living it from the inside. And what is interesting is that this disconnection tends not to arrive through obvious failure. It tends to arrive through something subtler, through the long accumulation of choosing what was expected over what was true, of organizing a life around other people's definitions of what it should contain, of becoming so fluent in the performance of who everyone needs you to be, that the person underneath the performance has gone quiet from lack of attention. There is an old story about a man who spent years searching for treasure, crossing difficult terrain, following every rumor, investing the better part of his life in the search, and who, upon returning home exhausted and empty-handed, discovered the treasure had been beneath the floor of his own house the entire time. He had left it on the morning he departed, and it had waited patiently for his return. The story survives not because it is a lesson about staying home. It survives because it mirrors something that happens in human lives. The prolonged search outside for something that was never located there, the eventual exhausted return, and the recognition that what was being sought was always closer than anywhere the search had taken you. The Buddhist tradition describes a version of this through the concept of Buddha nature, the understanding that the clarity and peace and genuine well-being being searched for are not qualities to be acquired from somewhere external, but qualities inherent to human consciousness that become visible when the obscurations are removed, not becoming someone new, seeing clearly, removing what covers what was already there. The Taoists describe it differently, but point in the same direction. Wisdom as a return to one's own nature rather than the achievement of a nature borrowed from somewhere else. Two traditions, developed independently, using different language, pointing toward the same fundamental recognition. A student once asked a Zen teacher how to find his true self. The teacher's answer surprised him. Stop becoming everything you are not. The student expected an instruction to add something, a practice, a realization, a quality to develop. Instead, the instruction was subtractive. Remove the expectations that were never yours. Release the identities adopted for other people's comfort. Set down the need to perform a version of yourself that was constructed for an audience rather than inhabited as a life. What remains, once the layers that do not belong have been honestly examined and gradually released, tends to be something more genuinely yours than anything that could have been constructed through intentional self-improvement. This is a different kind of work from the self-development that the culture typically encourages. It is not the accumulation of new skills or the acquisition of new qualities or the optimization of existing ones. It is a more honest kind of looking, the willingness to sit with yourself without immediately reaching for something to improve, and to ask, with genuine curiosity, what is actually true rather than what is expected to be true. What do you actually think, feel, want, and value when the performance stops and no one is requiring anything particular of you. Most people spend so little time in this kind of company with themselves that the question feels strange. And yet, it is the most important question available, because the answer to it is the actual starting point for a life that feels genuinely like yours. There is also a version of disconnection worth naming that runs in a different direction, not toward an imagined future self, but backward toward an old version of yourself that no longer exists. The person you were before the heartbreak, before the mistake, before the particular loss that changed something. Many people spend significant energy trying to return to a version of themselves that life has already moved past, as though healing means becoming again who you were before the wound, rather than becoming who you are after having genuinely moved through it. The river does not flow upstream. The tree does not shed its growth rings to become the sapling it once was. What you have been through has shaped you. And the person you are now, shaped by everything you have lived, is not a lesser version of the person before the difficulty. It is a fuller one, if the difficulty has been honestly metabolized. The journey back to yourself is not dramatic. It does not require a retreat or a sabbatical or any of the conventionally prescribed forms of self-discovery. It requires something simpler and more demanding, the regular, patient, honest practice of paying attention to your own actual experience. Noticing which things feel true and which things feel performed. Noticing where your energy goes freely and where it drains. Noticing what you find yourself returning to in quiet moments and what you avoid. Each of these small noticings is a step in a direction, not toward a new self, but toward the one that has been there all along, waiting with the patience of something that has nowhere else to go. You have been on this particular journey for 40 episodes now. The themes have moved from letting go and presence, through relationships and heartbreak, through anxiety and control and uncertainty, toward gratitude and silence and the people who matter. But look at what all of it has been pointing toward. Not outward, not forward, but here, to you as you already are, in the life you are already living, with the capacity for genuine presence and peace that is already present and has always been present, underneath everything that was covering it. As we close today, I want to leave you with a question worth carrying, not just through the rest of the day, but through the rest of the journey. What parts of yourself have you been neglecting? Not building toward, not improving, but simply neglecting, leaving unattended for so long that they have gone quiet. The curious part, the creative part, the part that knew things clearly before so many layers accumulated on top of the knowing. What has been waiting, patiently and without urgency, for you to finally come back to it? It has been there the whole time. It will be there whenever you are ready. And the returning, whenever it happens, tends to feel less like arriving somewhere new, and more like recognizing somewhere you have always, somehow, already been. Welcome home. Thank you for being here with me today. Until next time, be well.